2011 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. You all received minutes. Any questions or additions? If not, everyone that approves that, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes, we got that. Election. Oh, shoot. Okay. I guess we gotta have an elect. Do we have enough for an election? Can you vote?
I mean, yeah, you've got enough for an election if the people are here. See here, we had, Monty Jordan's not here, so if you feel comfortable electing him in absentia, you could try that, but, yeah.
This enough?
So
for
leave it up to
election?
you all. If you want to postpone it to the next meeting, you certainly can. Sorry.
Is this enough for an election? This
Yeah,
enough?
yeah,
Okay.
as far as that
I'd
goes.
like to have a nomination for Secretary and Vice Chairman. Monty Jordan currently is holding that position. I need a nomination.
Let's nominate Monty Jordan. He's not here.
Any other nominations? Okay, nominations cease. All those in favor of Monty? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I think he won. Chairman, now we need a nomination for chairman.
Nominate Russell.
I would nominate Russ.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Yes.
All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that take care of it. Now,
Thank you.
I still take donations.
Do you?
Yeah.
You still? Okay.
Okay. Report of recent city council actions.
Well, first you gotta go out there and get your signs out of the right of way for your,
Yeah, call your pack.
yeah.
I'll send Judy out to go get it, okay?
All right, so at the last meeting, you had the rezoning for Stevendale Court on your agenda. The planet, you all recommended approval. It was a kind of a split vote. There was 3-1, I believe. But the city council did end up not approving that rezoning. So I'm working with the person who was rezoning that actually owned the property, so working with them on what they want to do next.
Tom, how is, I know on 72 Highway, all of the frontage on 72 Highway, you kind of, in the last rezoning thing, wanted that to be C1 or move towards commercial. Is that correct? Do I remember that right?
So what I did with the blanket citywide rezoning thing, what I did was if there was properties in general, if there was properties that were, say, there were areas that were zoned commercial, then maybe not commercial, and then C1 and then C2 and this and that. So I tried to sort of make it make a little bit more sense in some
Okay.
areas. Didn't
So
rezone this property since it was a house already, but
This won't affect or make a standard for the rest of 72 then?
no, I mean, I think any of your rezoning cases, I think they're reviewed on their merits of that particular case and that particular property, so I wouldn't worry too much about a precedence. As far as that
Okay.
goes.
Okay, thank you. We have two public hearings this evening. The first one is a map amendment to zone 602 North Olive Street from C2 to R4. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Tom?
All right, yes. This is, we'll bring up on the thing, a area map showing the property. I zoomed it out just a little bit, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But the property, the subject property, I've got it highlighted in yellow, so that's 602 North Olive Street. The property is currently a duplex type property, and of note, you'll kind of see as we get a little bit further along, but this area has got a kind of a mixture of uses. We've got a lot of commercial in that area. It's kind of on the edge of the downtown, but there's also some residential in the area. And of course, it's, like I said, since it's kind of on the edge, kind of a transition area, there's residential kind of further to the south and the east, and it's more commercial further to the north and the west, just in general. This is a zoning, shows the zoning of the properties. The block on which this property is located is all zoned commercial currently. The north half of the block is zoned C1 neighborhood commercial, and then the south portion is C2 general commercial. And then just kind of notice the blocks around it. A lot of it is zoned commercial. Then you got to kind of see on the block to the east, there is half of it basically is zoned residential, and then as you go further away, you start seeing, as I said, more residential to the east and the south, and more solidly commercial to the north and the west. But I did bring this map up just to kind of show you, like I said, the zoning map would make it appear that everything's commercial, but when you actually go out there and look at the area, it's a little bit more complicated than that. There's a lot of residential in this area, so it's just kind of a mixture. So these properties I've got highlighted in blue, these are properties that are currently or at least very recently used for residential uses. It's on this block on which this property is located, basically half of the properties are actually residential uses. The one I think has been torn down or is in the process of being torn down, this one here. But I showed it as residential because it was an apartment building, but it is being demolished. So just to give you an idea, I said it's kind of a mixture in this area. So this is a street view looking toward the property. I zoomed it out just a little bit to show the church, because that's should help orient it as to where this property is. But it's actually this building over here, kind of behind the trees. It's a little bit further off the roads. You might not have even known it was there. Anyway, it's the property next to that former church building. So just to summarize, the comprehensive plan does designate this particular property and the whole block as being appropriate for community commercial uses. However, it is adjacent to the downtown, and there is a mixture of residential and commercial uses in this area. The R4 district in general is intended for areas that are near the downtown and to be used for higher density residential, mixed uses, and limited commercial uses. So I should also state that the R4 districts, the urban multifamily district, is one of our new zoning districts. When we did that citywide rezoning, we deployed that zoning district to areas kind of near the university and a few areas kind of south of the downtown. And some areas near the university. A neighborhood plan indicates, the Old Town neighborhood plan indicates it's appropriate for some areas south of the downtown. It has not happened yet. There's been a property owner come in and we're approved for a rezoning in that area. This particular property is just north of that neighborhood plan. It has not been part of any of the neighborhood plans we've done so far. So it would be, if we were to work on a plan, it'd be kind of a downtown type plan, but we haven't done one of those yet. So there isn't a adopted plan that actually comes out and says R4, because this area hasn't been studied in that depth. So, like I said, it's kind of, I'll leave it up to you all in your deliberations, but it's kind of a mixed bag. On the one hand, the whole area is zoned commercial, but on the other hand, there's a lot of residential in this area, and it is kind of on the edge of the downtown. So as to whether or not this is appropriate, it's I have to let you all decide. And as you go through this, you have the normal alternatives. You can find that meets criteria and so recommend approval, or find that's not appropriate, recommend it denied, or if you need more time, table it to the next meeting. Do you have any questions for me before you open it up?
Any questions for Tom?
So the R4 does allow for some commercial uses, very limited commercial uses.
Yes, I believe it requires a conditional use permit and up to a certain size, and then, or you can do by right up to a certain size as a mixed use type building.
Okay.
So it does allow for some commercial, it's just not the main focus is residential.
Tom, how do we determine parking for this? An R4 could be quite a few different things.
Yeah.
How do
So
you determine parking?
yeah. So the zoning district doesn't impact the parking requirements. It's still 0.66 per bedroom, regardless of what they build there. What I think is possible on this site would be, I think, something about like a 6-unit apartment building. I think would be the most that one could fit if they were like 1-bedroom studio type units, and you could fit 6 parking spaces and still fit a building like that. you could, like I said, we don't know exactly what the applicant would try to do with it. They're starting with the rezoning, and then we'll work on that afterward.
Okay.
But the small apartment building, it does meet the requirements and limitations of the R4 district, though, right?
The existing building?
Yes. No, once he demolishes it and comes in with this small apartment, it will meet the requirements.
Like I said, it hasn't been designed yet. I went through and just to see what would be possible on the site. I think that's something like that would be possible, to meet all the setbacks and meet the parking and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Tom. The public hearing is open. If anyone wishes to come speak to this issue, please come forward. Give Cindy your name and address, speak into the mic, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to speak?
My name is Will Benhart. I'm representing the owner, Blarney Stone Investments, and that's located at 1420 East State Highway 72. So I'm glad you guys mentioned parking, because that is one of the primary concerns of this property. We don't believe that this property would be well suited to a commercial endeavor, because the only parking currently available is that street parking right out front, which could fit 2, maybe 3 cars. It could be an appropriate distinction for all of the other properties on this block. It looks like it was kind of zoned in a batch in that way. But for this property, there's just not the parking available. And so what we are proposing is for this to be rezoned to R4 urban multifamily, which would allow us to utilize the smaller setbacks to put the parking in the rear of the property. So you'd enter in off the side, the building would be offset a little bit, and you'd be able to have the parking that you need. You would not be able to do that for any commercial building. I don't believe the setbacks are too large. And the parking would be cumbersome. You know, for a commercial pursuit, you obviously want to have adequate parking for that. Those are some of the main concerns that we had and why we felt like it'd be more appropriate as R4. It is consistent with the intent of the Rolla comprehensive plan, I believe. Last month, you guys went through the draft of the comprehensive plan, and it identified one of the strategies with which to revitalize downtown is promoting these kind of higher density residential opportunities near the downtown area. And this is settled right between Benton Square and Pine Street, and so this would be a great opportunity for that. So do you guys have any questions for me while I'm here?
If you put the parking in the back, how do you access that?
Right, so you would access it on a driveway to one side of the,
Olive Street?
Coming off of Olive?
yeah, it would be coming off of Olive Street and it'd be up to
Olive,
one
okay.
side of the other. Yep.
So to go along its own property line?
Yes, yeah.
And then curl around or something to the back then?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
And we've looked at R3, we've looked at the different possibilities that we could do with this. The setbacks are all too large on those, especially for commercial, to allow for a building of any feasible size. And as far as the building that is there currently, it has recently come into a state of disrepair. So it is, fixing it back up, which was our original plan, is not a feasible option for this. And so we're wanting to take this rundown old building that's going to start becoming a nuisance and turn it into something nice and new and invest in the community.
Okay.
So Tom had mentioned maybe up to a 6-plex or 6 units. Does the person you represent have plans of whether that is what they're looking at doing, or do they have plans?
That, something like that would be the plan. We don't have physical plans drawn up yet, but something like that we're confident would fit the setbacks, would fit all of the zoning laws, all of the city laws, municipal code, and we'd be able to do that effectively.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Bill.
Yeah.
My name is Jeff Davis, and I own the property, my wife and I own the property across the street at 601 North Olive. And I guess at the risk of piling on, I was here to talk about parking. So I think the redevelopment plan, as I looked at what was online that Tom put out, that area is ripe for it, and I fully support it. I will say the parking has always been an issue along Olive Street. That street is a little bit narrow than most, and there's parking on both sides, allowed on both sides, so it can get a little dicey, and that is a pretty busy, a surprisingly busy street through there. So it sounds like that's being considered, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents in that the only thing that I would be concerned about would be the parking, and it sounds like we're addressing it, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Anyone else wish to speak to this issue? Tom, did you have anything else?
No, but I'm available if you have any questions.
Okay. At this time, then, does anybody have any comments, questions?
I did speak with the owner of the property directly to the south, and he was totally fine with this.
Okay. The church?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? This time, we'll close the public hearing. I'd welcome a motion at this time.
I move that we send this request to the city council with our recommendations for approval.
Approval, okay, thank you.
I second that
Got a
motion.
second? Any comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Sherman,
Yes.
Kreider,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes. The next public hearing, vacation of the remainder of an alley north of 11th Street between Bishop Avenue and State Street. We'll open the public hearing. Tom?
Yes. Just gonna bring up an area map showing the property. As you said, it's basically it's between Highway 63 or Bishop Avenue and the former right-of-way of where State Street was, north of 11th Street. There's an alley that was platted a long time ago in that area. Portions of it have been vacated up to this point, but this would be a request to vacate all the rest of it. This is an application from the university, so this is not one of the city-initiated vacations. Although we probably would have gotten to this one eventually if they weren't needing this done sooner than later. So so this is the area map kind of showing that if you look on the air photo, you can see there's a lot of construction going on in that area. The university is building buildings, and one of the new buildings they're proposing is proposed to be over this alleyway, and so they need the alley to be vacated. The alley used to be there to serve a property that had a multifamily building on it, and the university has since purchased that property and torn that building down, so now the university owns everything around this alleyway. So this is a street view. This would be looking kind of to the north from 11th Street. The alley is part of where this parking lot is, and as I said, it used to extend further to the north, and if you squint, you can kind of see there's a lot of dirt, a lot of construction going on up there now. This is where the alley comes from. It's from a plat from 1912. It's this alley over here. As I said, a lot of it's already been vacated, so this would be the proposal to just vacate the last bit of it over here. So just to summarize, there is a sewer line located in this alley, so an easement will be retained for that. For a portion of it anyway, there's some discussions going on about what to do with this sewer line and whatnot, but rest assured that'll get taken care of. The alley is no longer needed for access to properties. We haven't received any objection from any other utility providers, but like I said, especially since an easement's going to be retained, and it's needed for a proposed new building on the university campus. You have some alternatives. You recommend approval or find that's not appropriate, and so recommend it not be approved, or if you need more time, table it. Do you have any questions for me?
Who has the issue with the sewer line? easement, I guess.
There's a city sewer line running through that part of the area. Some of it may be available to be kind of privatized and become the university's up to a point, basically where that building would be. But some details on that hasn't happened quite yet, so it's not quite ready to be turned over to them at this point. But
Are they planning to build a building
yes,
over this?
yeah. Well, I mean, I said that by that point, once it's ironed out, the sewer line will either be theirs or it'd be relocated.
Are they currently constructing things over it or working over it or?
At this point, the building is in the planning stage. They need it to be vacated so that they own all the property, because it's related to a grant that they're needing to fund the next stage of the project.
So you said relocated. Would that be our responsibility or theirs if that had to be done?
No, it'd be the universities.
Okay.
Yeah. But most likely, it'll just be turned over to them, because that's the cheapest.
And that sewer line, well, we manage it right now, don't we?
Yes, as of right now, that portion is considered to be the city's, yeah.
Okay.
There's a point that beyond that we're sure that nobody else is being served other than the university, and then there's a point where we think that somebody else is. So there's only up to a point that it can be turned over to them. So like I said, some details to be figured out, but it will be figured out.
Okay. Is it the stuff to the west? How does that connect in with them, the sewer line, I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, that's kind of there's this one property over here that the university doesn't own anyway, we think there's a line that comes over to some of these properties over here. So it'd be south. See how that building's kind of hatched out? That's where that proposed building is to be. So it'd be just south of it. It would be most likely, at least for the time being, remain city sewer. And then the points north of that would either go away, if it can go away, or be turned over to the university to be a private sewer. Or if
So the sewer line comes up to a certain point and then tees to the left and goes down to that building?
well, no, there's a lateral that goes over a private
Lateral, okay,
lateral going
yeah.
over to these buildings over here. So the public sewer line just goes straight north.
And that is on whose property, that lateral?
At the universities, it's going across
So
their
there's an
property.
easement going through there?
I don't know if there's an easement per se, but it'd be a private thing.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Tom. The public, meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to come and speak to this issue, please come forward. No? Okay. That's unusual. Okay. At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Anything else, Tom? Any other questions? Okay, I would welcome a comment or a motion.
I'll make a motion that we send this to city council with our approval.
Second.
Sorry, second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments?
I think Shield was.
I can do it first.
I'm sorry, what?
She was asking you to second.
Oh, okay.
You second, I told him you second.
I was
Okay.
looking down writing.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Shields,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kreider,
Yes.
Turbin,
Yes.
Motion passed. No new business or old business. Tom, do you have anything? Dawn?
Wow.
How about these ladies in the audience?
No,
No heckling.
No.
I best not. Okay. At this point, the meeting is